Miss Balderota.
Here.
Miss Balahi.
Here.
Mr. Curlin. Mr. Kleiss. Miss Marlin is excused. Mr. Miles.
Here.
Mr. Shetty.
Here.
Miss Welter.
Okay. Doesn't look like we have anyone for a public input. So, Natalie?
All right, so typically the schedule of the market's off-season is to present an annual report to the Urbana City Council at the beginning of the calendar year. Last year's annual report from the year before, the ones before that weren't as pretty, but you can find them all on the city website under Market Annual Report. Usually, we wait until January, sometimes even February, to present the annual report because we're still reconciling all of our financials for the season. There's still things to be paid and invoices that we're collecting on and things like that. The market budget runs on a calendar year, whereas the city's fiscal year runs July 1st to June 30th. So usually it takes us a couple of months to get everything put together. So today I'm going to present to you a preliminary annual report for you to take a look at, and I know that you had some discussions you'd like to have as a recap of the 2016 season. So we'll go ahead and get started. You know the background of the market. You're the advisory board. You're there. We had a great year for food access, SNAP at the farmers market. Still have some numbers to fill in to break it out for 2016, but over $20,000 distributed in SNAP, which is up from 15, up from 2014, up from all the years. It was a great year for the SNAP program. Lots of increases in our social media. As you can see for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the envelope is for our subscribers to Market Mail. That's our weekly email that we send out. You all as vendors and community groups get an email from us giving you the nitty-gritty about setup and tear down and things like that. But in addition to that, we curate an email that goes out to over 2,000 subscribers with what's happening at the market. Any questions? All right. Participants, this year we kind of recategorized the definition of some of our participants, so some of the numbers will change ever so slightly from the year before. Obviously, arts and crafts still the same, growers still the same. We changed prepared food vendors to value added. Food trucks were pulled out of value added and put into their own category. Community groups and performers and buskers. I gave each of you a...
So basically, there's three groups taking money out of the market, taking money from the customers.
Well, you have...
Like community, arts and crafts.
Yeah.
So four.
So there's four.
So buskers and performers, they're the people that set up on the end caps of the aisles and play the music. Community groups are in the very last aisle across from the food trucks. They do not sell products, but they can offer items for a suggested donation. Rarely do I allow bake sales or anything like that. It's more like a bumper sticker, or a reference. Yeah.
I'm just worried about the folks taking money out of the market. I'm not worried.
Art and craft grower, value-added food truck. Yep.
Because that's the kind of account I'm worried about.
Well, I'm presenting it all today. Here is the pie chart. It breaks it down.
Shut up.
No, I got more for you. the pie chart is a quick breakdown of the percentage. So if we have all of what we consider participants at the market, those are folks that sell things and offer resources or play music. It's all right here. A couple things to note, our art and craft vendors, last year we had 74, this year we had 57. So that's a drop. One of the reasons why is that we would not approve vendors that we thought had similar art and craft products to what was already being offered out there. So we had a very significant wait list of vendors this season as a result of feedback from the advisory board from last year. Stan, come on. Baby steps here. Give us a chance. Community groups, they stayed pretty consistent. We had 63 last year, 65 this year. In regards to, last year we had what we called prepared food vendors, which include value added and food trucks. We separated those out this year. Last year we had 49 total. This year we had 30 value added food vendors and 9 food trucks. So still a drop from last year, and like I said, that's because we carried on that suggestion to kind of work towards a more balanced product mix.
But you only allowed 4 at one time.
That's food truck, yeah.
9 total throughout the season appeared at the market, but not all 9 came at the same time. Yep, because there's some weekends that they would go to a festival, and so we'd call somebody up and be like,
Is popcorn figured as that?
kettle corn? Are they considered
yeah, we
as,
consider that a food truck.
Is what?
is it on
Because,
here?
yeah, Wayne's Kettle Corn is a food truck vendor.
What is
What about TNT Enterprise?
That was,
Did she consider herself value added?
I think she was value added. Let me check, but I'm pretty sure.
What's that?
Carol, the Tollers from TNT Enterprise.
I don't know if they're value-added food, Department of Food.
There was 2 trucks on that inn. Well, one came sometimes when it worked. But that was for health department reasons, that they were being asked to cook out of a truck.
Yeah, TT Enterprise was
As
value
a
added.
reminder, our county does not like prepared food that is not prepared, not in a food truck. So that's why our market, for example, has prepared foods coming out of a truck, whereas, like I mentioned before, Green City Market has prepared foods underneath a tent. That's just the way they want it.
What was your question?
We have one trailer, red trailer with popcorn,
Right.
and then we have that guy have next to you with popcorn. Should they not move with the rest of the food?
I put Wayne in the far corner to separate him from
Yeah,
Carol,
you would.
because,
Okay.
yeah,
You said
that's why.
one was valuable spot for food.
Well, then we'll have to get rid of 2 food trucks to move them in over there. So, yeah,
I didn't know.
it's all a
if they were
balance.
classified as food market or not.
I can't explain why. They were there since before I was there. I have not purposely moved anyone in my tenure in fear until this year. Why not? So then let's keep going through here. We go to growers. We had 49 last year. We have 45 this year. So buskers and performers. 43 last year, 36 this year. And community groups, we had 63 last year and 65 this year. Obviously, not all of these people come all at the same time. We don't have the capacity to hold all these numbers on a single day.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, is out of the 4 groups that Stan mentioned earlier, like what percentage? I would assume that farmers or food growers, meat or vegetables and honey, flowers, those kinds would come every week because they have to sell their product no matter what, whereas some
Correct.
other people might not, like if it rains. So I guess my question is, what percentage, like do most of the food or most of the growers come 100% of the time, whereas the arts and craft vendors might come 60% of the time? You know, what would that breakdown look like?
I would say that most of the growers come 100% of the time, but they don't come 100% of the season because not all growers come the whole season. Right. So when peaches aren't in season, or sweet corn, or strawberries, or something like that that come and go, if there is somebody that wants to come in when they're not there, we'll put somebody there. I can tell you by our reporting for SNAP grants that we have to report the number of total vendors, the number of SNAP eligible vendors, the number of vegetable only vendors, and we try very hard to make sure that at least half of all of our vendors on any given day are SNAP eligible vendors. So that means that at least half of every single market we have products that are eligible under SNAP.
Weekly you report that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's about 8 hours worth of SNAP reconciliation per week per person here.
Yeah, I would say so.
Then there's also other ready-to-eat items, but those aren't considered SNAP eligible. Meat is SNAP eligible.
Yes.
Yep, because they have us factored out by total vendors, total SNAP eligible vendors, and vegetable only vendors. So SNAP eligible vendors even include bakers, as long as they're items that can be consumed off-site. They can't be ready-to-eat items like a donut, but it could be a loaf of bread. So I think that's something that we're proud of, that we can have that many SNAP eligible vendors on a given Saturday.
Yeah, and I'd say as far as your the rain, the weather wise, really the only one that affects is the arts and crafts. I noticed that one when we have cancellations on wind or rain or whatever. A lot of that is arts and crafts. We have some value added food like the bakers, but for the most part, bakers and growers are there pretty much every week.
The value-added food vendors that would cancel would be things that would easily expire in humidity or melt. Chocolate, things like that. So, yep. I hope that answers your question.
It's a hard question. Yeah.
But, yeah. I can say with much, what's the word? Excitement?
Sure.
I don't know. That over half the vendors on a Saturday are SNAP eligible, so.
Just slightly off topic. If it's a crazy rainy day, I guess vegetables are still there, so your 50% still happens. But I remember one terrible rainy market last year or the year before, and and there was nobody there. Do they give you a buy for that
Well,
week?
our rules say that you can have 2 absences without letting us know in advance, and after that we ask what's happening and.
I meant for
yeah.
SNAP reporting.
Oh, wait, what was the question?
My question is, if it rains and there's hardly any vendors there and you don't meet your 50%, is there?
The 50% is something that we set upon ourselves. It's not
Oh.
something by any type of
Okay.
program.
Oh,
But
I thought you had to get that to get the money.
no, we just think that that's a very fantastic thing to show
So,
in a market our size. So on those days, it would be even higher.
sure, yeah.
So, yeah. And that was July of 2014. It was a 100-year rain.
Tell me, Mike. That's good.
We even stayed open late.
So.
Till like
okay,
1.
Boston, and why?
Why do we want that?
Yeah, I mean, if it's taking 8 to 10 man hours,
Why do we want SNAP?
why do you want to keep track of percentage?
We have to. It's part of the reporting. There's a very extensive spreadsheet where we have to report numbers forwards and backwards, this way and that way.
But they don't make you meet a certain requirement, a percentage.
No,
They just want the numbers.
they just want the numbers.
Okay.
But
I was thinking, so-
those are very good numbers to have. It's more enticing for the customer to know that they can come and have a lot of opportunities to spend those SNAP dollars.
Just snap people care of that.
Yeah. Yep. I was trying to think of all the different partners we had in making the market happen this season. First Federal, we received $1,500 to support our Sprouts at the Market program. Farm Credit granted us $8,000 for SNAP incentives this year. Link Up Illinois gave us $5,000 for SNAP administrative support, as well as an additional $4,800 for produce incentives, and another $500 for conducting a survey of our SNAP customers when they came up to use their link cards at the market. Through USDA on there because they've definitely had their eye on Urbana's market at the square this season, because our program for SNAP has been very successful in comparison to some others across the country, and they wanted to know why. So we put them on there. Farmers Market Coalition provides us with a discounted EBT machine. That's the device we use to swipe the link cards at the farmers market. Junior League of Champaign-Urbana was an organization that carried out the Sprouts at the Market program in May. The orthodontics office was our presenter of Market at the Scare. CI Living shows our weekly Farm Fresh and Fast Cooking segment. We go on there every single week and we cook a recipe. You can find them at the market. We have a lot of people grab them. And then Mix 94.5 does a lot of radio promotions for the market, and even got into some video this year with us too. Obviously, you go online to watch it. Can't watch video on the radio.
I thought you could take money because you was under the city.
We had to go to council to ask for approval for Farm Credit and for First Federal. In the other instances, they were grants that we had applied for, or there was no money exchanged. For example, the orthodontics office, they were our guest presenter for Market at the Scare. They came and brought bodies so that I didn't have to hire more staff on that day, and they carried out our activities. In return, I let them have a space at the market and didn't charge them, because for me, that staff time and that manpower to carry out all those activities was more than what they would have paid for a space that day.
So why'd you have to ask for farm credit?
Farm Credit was $8,000 that they gave to us, and so anything over a certain threshold, you have to go and have council approval to accept that money, because that's a budget amendment. We didn't go into the year knowing that we were going to get that $8,000, so they had to update the budget expenditures and
They took it away
revenues.
from you then?
No, they didn't.
Because the city, the council?
No, they just said that's awesome and wrote their name on it, and then, what's that? They just added it to. Yep, and they just adjusted our budgets to reflect an influx of $8,000 that we would spend for double value.
So in theory, then you could ask other folks for other things,
Yeah, I mean,
if you get city council approval.
I guess so, yeah. I didn't necessarily go up to Farm Credit and say, hey, give me money. I made a contact there, and she wanted to learn about the market, and she asked what are things that we would need help with or assistance with, or how could they become involved. And I don't typically allow service industries or organizations like this to come to market, with the exception of nonprofit groups, education, government over in the community group area. Otherwise, it's a pretty slippery slope. I mean, we need to keep kind of reins on what's happening out there as best as we can.
The hospital or something,
I mean, that's another option if
because the health related.
yeah, I see that happen successfully over in Lincoln with their hospital.
Your recipe things.
That, yeah, that is an option. So. So yeah, preliminary. I got a few slides on there. The biggest thing missing at this moment is the budget, and we're still putting it together, like 80% there. But then again, we're not through the calendar year yet, so still a few numbers to add.
Did I eavesdrop over here to Dennis down and share them?
You were sitting right behind me. So, what's that? Yeah, you were. So, the season totals for this year estimated. I mean, we go around and we count heads, every head with a clicker. You'll see staff walk through. We count every single head, whether it's a child's head or an adult's head. I mean, we don't discriminate on heads. We count them all, even yours. And then we go up and down every aisle and do that, and we mark the number down at 9 o'clock. Then we stand near the northwest corner where we can see basically the entrance of Illinois and Walnut, by the gate, by Moore's, and then the northwest corner. And for 10 minutes, we stand there, and any person that passes by us, we count them too. And that gives us a second number. So we get 2 numbers at 9, we repeat it at 10, repeat it at 11. We do some math, and then we average it out, and we come out with this number. And that's the way that Lisa Braultz, the previous market director, told me that they had done it. I think Kathleen did it before that. So that's how we get our estimated attendance. And so this year we had just over 100,000 visitors, we estimated. Last season it was 127,000. The season before 123,000. The season before 123,000. And I didn't have time to put a narrative with this because, I mean, I could very well give it to you, but I don't want you to jump to conclusions and be like, we're going down the drain. Because that's not so much the case. You have to remember that we are a very much weather-dependent event. And
On good years and bad years.
yeah,
15 was a good year.
weather is huge. And I can show you
And there was one more market.
yeah, and 15 we had 28 Saturdays as compared to 27. So that's a few thousand people difference right there. But I mean, we can point out multiple Saturdays that we know had weather, and we keep track of that. Every week we have a piece of paper, and I make staff fill out what the weather is like, what type of events took place that day. I mean, we keep track of home games for U of I. There were quite a few home games this year that started at 11. I think there were more home 11 o'clock games this year than we've had in years past. And that hits us really hard. I mean, when they block off streets, that's a huge draw. So there are some variables that play into it, and my goal, which I didn't achieve for today, was to put some asterisks by some of these dates that had lower numbers compared to previous years, to kind of put a little bit of an explanation in regards to those types of patterns. Now, I'm not considering other patterns, which I'm sure will be a topic of conversation here shortly, but based on things that we know, like weather and sporting events and things like that.
That's the nature of the beast.
That's the nature of the beast. Yep. So, I mean, I don't consider that to be like a massive drop. If it was under 100,000, I'd be a little worried.
But trends do matter.
Trends do matter. But in regards to weather, I mean, what?
Well, we can't
We-
control, I mean, we're
no.
farmers, we know.
Yeah,
That's our part, weather's our partners, we understand.
yeah. So, I will have that put together for you with some details. But I'm happy to pass it around so you can see it.
No, and it's not critical, and I told you, I don't know. And it's not critical of anything now, it's just, I'm just talking trends.
Oh,
We'll
yeah.
talk about later, trends.
Oh, yeah.
It's just not here.
No.
You're doing better here than any, this is trends everywhere. You know, Springfield, we've had that conversation. It's trending a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
So,
And we've both heard this conversation. Stan and I were both present at a Farm Bureau meeting a few weeks ago, and yeah, there's lots of trends and things happening right now.
but, you know,
So
since you brought that, didn't you get fried by, what's her name, Farm Bureau? Haskins, Cynthia Haskins. Her presentation, her keynote, everything's great. We're short farmers. Farmers markets are rising. Where did she get her information?
Yeah.
No, I mean, so that's what, that really burns me. I'm not you, but just the whole, you got people out there cheerleading for this thing, and it's not true.
and I took some notes on that too. And usually,
But your lady, the whatever her name was.
Janie.
She told the truth.
well, so he's talking about Janie, who's the executive director of the Illinois Farmers Market Association, and we're all reporting to her regularly, and we chat on a monthly basis about what's happening at our markets, and so she's not going to sugarcoat it.
Somebody recruited Cynthia.
Why don't you do that, Stan?
Okay, they're not gonna go on.
But typically, I do put some of those types of trends in the annual report, like statistics from USDA on the number of farmers markets across the country. We're over 8,000 in 2016, which is up like 3-point-something% from 2015. And over the past 20 years, the numbers of farmers markets in the country has tripled. Yes. So the jump from 2015 to 2016 isn't as high a percentage in number of farmers markets as it has been in the past. But I also have to say that I don't know where they're getting their numbers from, because in Illinois there isn't one organization that tracks the number of farmers markets. It used to be the Illinois Department of Ag, then they had some turnover in their staff, and it was on the market manager or the person in charge of the farmers market to go to the Illinois Department of Ag, type in a username and password, and update their farmers market. But if you didn't remember your new username or password, or if the person from the Department of Ag didn't send you a reminder to do it, or if there's a turnover in the person that runs the market, which happens all the time. I mean, there's not, in the grand scheme of things, there's not a whole lot of farmers markets that have a paid market manager. It's typically a volunteer, or it's a farmer vendor that runs the market, or a Main Street organization, something like that. So, I mean, I can't even remember my username or password to get on my computer, let alone these other things. So we're working on that as an organization of farmers markets to have a number, and we have some grant money to do that. So we have a better idea of how many markets are in Illinois, where they're at, who runs them. It's a grant that the Illinois Farmers Market Association received from USDA to be able to track that. So they're working on it. So that's my preliminary report for you. Attached to your agenda were 2 reports from Manage My Market. That's the software, web-based software that we use to run the market. I can pull it up if you want to see it, or if you have questions about it.
Can I ask a really quick question?
Oh, sure.
Is this your first year with Instagram?
Second.
Okay. I just wondered why it went up 58%.
Yeah, actually, the year before it went up 200%. So
Because you started it that year?
we started using Instagram. Yeah, let's see, we started at the end of 2014, because when we put this report together in 2014, we had 162 followers. Yeah, I think we had a contest that year and put up little yard signs that said, like, take a photo and tag us on Instagram. And we started in September, that's what it was. There was a market staff person did that for us. And then last year we had 633 when we capped out the season, and then this year, yeah.
Yeah, whatever that would be.
People really like pictures.
Yeah.
Of.
That was one of the most popular things we would do, is like go around taking pictures of the products available at the market. And we would put it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and people just went crazy over it.
Yeah. And you don't have to have like a narrative with Instagram. You can just put it on there and say pretty, and then people like it. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. No, it's very popular. So, do you have any questions about Manage My Market? Do you want to see a different kind of report? Are there things here that are missing that you would want to talk about?
Well, I know why I want to do this. What's our role here, and what, you know what I'm trying to say. You know,
This is the first time we've done anything like this, so you
we do whatever we want.
I mean, I've been here since August of 2012 as the market director, and haven't had a end of season recap, with the exception of some surveys that we've sent out to vendors. We sent it out about 2 weeks later than the previous years, but we sent one out last week, a survey to vendors. I don't know if we've had
Have
a
we gotten
response
things
yet.
back on that yet?
Do you know if we've got?
I haven't gotten to check that yet.
But I think the year before we had like 50 or 100 responses. I mean, not terrible, but
I mean, my thought process was to help tweak the market, help tweak the market. Because numbers are going down, and I'm not blaming you, I've done told you, it's a trend.
sure.
Numbers are going down, markets are going up, which I see vendors are down, I mean, that's a good thing, I think. Depends who you are. But, and you know what, I'm just gonna repeat it, if your anchor vendors aren't profitable, then you lose your anchors. And I'm not saying the market's gonna be ruined, but it changes the demographics of people out there.
Right.
And, I guess my thought was to try to streamline that a little bit. Because if attendance is down, we don't need more people, because the pie's getting smaller. And I'm not gonna say next year won't be better, because 2015 was better, but as far as attendance.
Mm-hmm.
But if the trend in the last, since 10, so it'll be 6 years, 6 years, 6 of those 7, 5 of those 6 were down. Maybe we need to look at it. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to make a decision, but I think my thought was when I tried to get that in, or when it was in the strategic plan, was to maybe manage it a little closer, tweak it, because this is a mature market. If you're a new market, you want anything that breathes, because you're trying to build. Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
No, I understand.
It is what it is.
I understand. Yep.
This is an old market, relatively speaking.
I mean,
Evanston and this one is.
yeah. My colleague Dale in Aurora would say that his is the oldest. I think they've been around 108 years.
But I know vendors in Evanston are down 50%, and they track their numbers, so I know I can trust. I don't trust most people's numbers, but I trust these numbers.
Yeah.
So I
A
think he's
single
doing great.
vendor or all vendors across the
One
board?
vendor.
Okay.
But he's been there one of the longest.
Okay. So when you
So-
say down, do you mean that your business is down, or are you making the realization that the entire Urbana market at the square is down?
We're not down, but market sales, our totals down, because we're different. We got different income streams.
How do you know that market sales are? I mean, I'm not
I
trying to
don't.
play the devil's advocate, but I don't have a number to say whether or
No,
not
nobody
it
does.
is.
It's all
No.
hypothetical.
Okay.
But by talking to vendors and doing my own unofficial poll,
Yeah.
numbers are down.
Okay.
But I don't ask specifics, and I told you, I won't give them to you, and I don't think anybody else will either.
Yeah, I know
That's to be
that.
nice, but I don't trust nobody's numbers.
Yeah.
I just don't trust that's why I'm conservative. But anyway,
So, not to interrupt you, but I want to be aware of everyone's time, and I will let you know what like our off season for us looks like. So, we're wrapping up November. December, we work on our annual report. January 26th, we're going to have a preseason meeting. We didn't have one last year. The one the year before was almost a blizzard, and like 5 people came, but we still had it. And I know that there's been bigger ones in the past. I'm trying to resurrect it this year on January 26th to happen strategically at that point, because February 1st is when our applications become available. And so I wanted to have an opportunity that week before applications become available to do a couple of really quick things to excite vendors a little bit during their off season. I have a few people lined up to talk about marketing yourself in a crowded farmers market, telling your story, product display, because I think that I don't want to just single out a few people and be like, hey, have you ever thought about reorganizing your space to attract more customers? So maybe doing it for everyone would be helpful. So I have someone that's going to talk about that. And then I have someone from the Champaign County Economic Development Corporation that's going to come and share some market trends. Market as in, for example, a grocery store approaches them and say, hey, I want to plant a grocery store in Champaign-Urbana. What are your numbers like there? So she's going to give some demographic information about who's shopping, what they're spending, things like that. I just thought it would be helpful, and it was something that had come up in one of our previous meetings. This is going to be really quick. I'm talking like 15-minute short little presentations to keep you engaged, and then have an opportunity to share about the applications for 2017, and then some time to catch up with your fellow vendors if you so choose. So my timeline is we have to update our application and our vendor handbook by the middle of January. So that gives us about 45 days to pull it together. So if there are significant changes or if you have recommendations to staff, you are an advisory board. You're here to give us advice on how to make adjustments and suggestions.
Okay,
And-
I looked through the list, it's pretty obvious.
And we did take into consideration your request to better balance the product mix, and we tried it in baby steps this year with some vendor categories that we knew we could
Arts and crafts.
more easily manage. I don't mean to be a bully, but of all of the categories of vendors, growers are the most intimidating to work with. And so in regards to working towards balancing the product mix, we picked some categories that we could easily communicate with and easily distinguish whether there was going to be two people selling the exact same French macaroons or two people selling toffee or something like that, and talk to them about it and make sure it was okay to accept another one. Some of them want the competition and others don't. So you can see by our numbers that we did take some of those suggestions into consideration. So moving to 2017, the floor
So
is
if we
yours.
want to make any changes to the applications, how and when is there a deadline for that?
Now,
Okay.
yeah. I mean,
So,
we're
5 minutes.
we're
All right.
starting to. I mean, that's what I assumed was the whole purpose of this, was for you to tell me what we need to change.
so can I bring up a subject?
We've run 35, so you're wrong.
And I think
Well,
you may
I
have
mean-
mentioned to me that it is in there, but maybe I didn't read it clearly. When you have a vendor that's, signed up for the whole year, and they're bringing something that's not on My Market Manager as far as listed as a item that they're selling, and then they bring it, and then right next to another vendor that they just sell one type of an item. Should we limit additions at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, where people can add whatever they want?
I think we need to arm you with information, and when you get applications in, you've got a list. Like, I mean, it's obvious, we don't need tomato growers, we don't need green bean growers, we don't need peach growers. You know, it's pretty obvious on some of that stuff. I made a list of things I think we need, and I think we need strawberry growers, because it's seasonal, and it's.
Yeah. Well, just a second. Let me go back to Kent's
Okay.
question. So, for example, if there's a vendor that wants to bring something later in the season, they will update their product list. What they're supposed to do is update their product list.
Okay.
When they do that, an email is sent to us letting us know that they've updated their product list. And then we go in and either click the button approve or not approve.
But if you've got a list that says we got plenty of sunflower growers, you know you don't need that.
That's
what I
true.
think our role is give you a list of things that you've got enough of, and somebody wants to bring it, they can.
That's true.
I guess,
But I was
How
going to say
current
something
is
else
this?
too, but now I remember what else I was
because
going to say too.
in my situation, they're not
Right.
listed.
So I do not give staff this list and say, go around and mark down every single one of these things you see at every single one of these vendors.
Right.
That would take
Forever.
more than just Saturday to get around to every single vendor
Mm-hmm.
and mark that down. If we had some kind of beautiful spreadsheet or some kind of system where it could be like beep, 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 like that would be awesome. But to my knowledge, I don't think that there's something like that that exists for farmers markets. I mean, I know that there's farmers markets that are dictators and they come in and they are like, you have to put that back on your truck. But they're not as big. And so, I mean, I'm willing to try something different this year. I'm willing to come up with some kind of spreadsheet and go around and check things. We're lucky if we can even get around some Saturdays to write down what products you have so we can talk about what you're going to bring the next Saturday. I mean, sometimes taking attendance is tough. Because, I mean, I know that you're doing your things as vendors in there, but we're also dealing with a lot of stuff up at the front as well.
I think if it's in the handbook, you just clearly state this is the way it is, and I think it'll please.
But what are we clearly stating?
Yeah, I mean, are we making that people can add stuff?
No, they can, if you decide.
So what you put on your initial application is
Because-
all that you can bring, and you
Because
can't
I think
add
as
anything
a
else.
grower, you're going to know if you're going to plant this
Right.
ahead of time.
And that's just, because that's what it used to be, back Kathy days. And you didn't have it on the list, you didn't bring it.
Right. Well, I found a lot of handwritten lists that said vegetables as the product.
Yeah, and
But what does that mean?
If that happens, I think we'll have to go back to the vendor and ask them, list it.
Right. So, but I'm just speaking to paper applications that I've seen
Oh.
in the past.
Right.
That's why I like this, because at least you have to go through the exercise of listing.
So every
these
vendor
things.
has to do the My Market thing and list everything they're bringing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's.
And if it's not on there, they can't bring it, right?
Yeah, technically. But then it's on staff to go around and check and
Okay.
see, like, oh, is that on their list or was that not on
So,
the list? And so we
Can
don't
they
have
say-
a police to do that.
So can they add it like in July or August to that list?
I
still bring
haven't
it?
I haven't said that they couldn't.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
I've had
saying,
people
if
do
it's in
that.
the
Oh.
handbook,
Yeah. But if that's something that you want to add, then I'm totally fine with adding
Okay,
that.
all right.
I'd say add.
I think we need to add it.
I just need help policing all this. That's what I'm
But you
saying.
can have it down as an application that you know you're gonna do it.
Yeah. It's not like a last minute,
Well, then that's too bad.
well, I know, but
Because there is
That-
people that are planning for it and say they plan on planting, say radishes or something at a certain time of year, and three other people that wasn't planning on planting it, well, then it floods their market. We need a little more thought process to put it in.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really have a problem this season with like people bringing things that we weren't expecting. We did have one situation where like they brought it before we had approved or denied their request, and I do believe, I think I remember I made them put it back just because it was conflicting with another vendor. But yeah, most of the time people will at least wait before bringing something to hear back whether we have approved or
Well, how do
denied.
you do the arts and crafts?
Well, there's 5 people that wanted to sell soap. And I said, well, we already have 3 people that sell soap. So we're going to put you on our wait list. And if one of those people can't make it or decides to drop out of market, we'll let you know.
Well, that's a pretty good model.
mhm.
We tell you what you got enough of, and that's the way it's gonna be. And as long as it's in the, everybody's gotta know everything ahead of time. 'Cause that's where you get in trouble, is when you make rules mid-season, and then you make.
Oh, I will not make a rule mid-season. Once it's printed on the paper and we give it to the vendors on January 26th, unless it's something completely crazy like don't bring your parrot or I don't know. I'm not gonna, which happened, but I'm not gonna make it. I'm lucky if I get 15 vendors to open an email on any given Saturday, like prep for Saturday, that says what's happening this Saturday. Well, I thank you for that.
So are we making a decision then tonight on,
Cannot add products after applying without prior approval of
It is stated in the handbook,
market director, and then,
right,
yeah,
but it's gotta be stated in the handbook
Mhm.
that is the rule. If they break the rule, you really not like you do, it'll be vendor
be another vendor
police.
pleased, and then brought to your attention?
and that's
you can't-
kind of how it's,
Yeah, but
well, that's what I'm hearing, that we have all of these, there may be people bringing things that we don't know about, that aren't on the list, and, I mean, I don't know how to police some of these things. I think they're great intentions, and I would like, if we were starting over from square one, like, I would love to be able to do that, but I don't want to set us up for failure because we can't properly police something. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, I am more than happy to put things in the handbook, and if having it in the handbook is good enough to keep people on the up and up, then that's all.
Yeah, I think we'll have to go with that, but then I think we'll have to watch the guy next to you. And then we would just say, oh, I don't think, we're selling the exact same thing side by side. And I don't think they're signed up for it. And I
And
go
that-
on to,
Yeah.
I go into My Market Mail and I look at their profile and they ain't listed for it.
See,
Then we bring it to her attention and then she can deal with it.
we don't watch our own, somebody else shows up with me, I'm gonna know about it. I don't
Right.
know about flowers. I don't know about produce. So we don't watch, and that's why I think it's diverse. I think, which, Vince will be a food truck thing, I don't know what to talk about tonight. The food truck is represented. But I think he represents from each category. But you got arts and crafts guy, he's not here tonight. But we all watch our own
Category.
turf, as you may say.
Mhm.
We let you know, and then you do, but if you've got it down in black and white, and and if it's not listed at the end of the year,
Right.
and if you look at that and we say, we give you an idea, like, you got too much soap, you don't want soap.
Right.
You got too many tomato vendors, no more tomato vendors. So if somebody wants to be in a tomato vendor that's not already in,
Right.
they're not in.
Well, and that brings up a couple of questions that I have for you as an advisory board. One of them is that if each of you look after your own type of category,
That's why we're here.
then, correct, but in making the decision of what should and shouldn't come to market, would that be a conflict of interest?
We just make suggestions. You have the ultimate
Okay.
say, so if you think we're screwed, then
No,
you-
but they're supposed to hear it, Stephen.
So, so we kind of get a pass on that. I mean,
Right.
And I hope you trust us enough to don't think we're just patting our own pocket.
Oh, I never said that. That was just, that's a,
Because it's impossible us to know, except like I
Right.
know we need strawberries. Because I watched, and like I told you at one point, you can walk around the market, do a quick walk around the market at 11:59 and see what we got too much of. Not on an extreme week, but on an average.
so then, in moving forward to the 2017 season, as applications start coming in, and say we don't get any new growers that apply to market. It's all still the same growers that we've had for all these years. Not a single new grower comes to market. How would you want for me to balance that product mix when it's all of you guys coming back again, offering the same things? Do I go to the newest of the vendors and say, hey, you can't, no. So
Take it healthcare.
I want to help, and so, there hasn't really been a ton of new ones. The numbers are going down.
But just as an example, if Robert don't come back or in a limited form or capacity, you don't need to.
And I wasn't planning to. I was hoping that we could do some rearranging.
We already talked about it, but I just want to get it out there for everybody here. Because what he sells, we got plenty of.
Yeah. And when,
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean,
but my thoughts weren't, oh, I've got 15 spaces, I'm gonna put in 15 brand new growers there. Well, A, there's not 15 brand new growers to put in there, and B, that's not my plan. My plan is to not really put anybody there and just kind of do some shifting and moving and molding around and use those 15 spots for, no, I'm not going to give them all away, but use it for overlap to better accommodate the people that are already there so that we have a little bit of room to work with. I wasn't going to go out and find 15 new vendors. Although, if there is something that you want, like,
well, I got a list here when I get to it.
yeah,
But you gotta remember, Natalie, this is kind of a prize in a pretty big area, to do this market. So you say you don't have vendors, I know people would love to be. And if they got caught wind if there was some available, you better believe they're gonna be knocking on the door, because some things have changed. They've got to do marketing in this area, so they'll be here if you would let them.
yeah,
But their products cross over with
Right.
what we've already got,
right.
so we don't really need them.
So
Now you mentioned those names.
I'm on the hunt for things that people have asked for, that have
We
requested
need-
to
we
us.
need- We need
Like someone,
fish, rabbit, duck, and strawberries. There's a great fish guy that does the inside market, and you know he's not local, but my definition of local is as far as you gotta go to get it. I'm serious.
I know which vendor you're speaking of, and I've actually declined them more than one year because
It's
they,
not Illinois product.
it's not an Illinois
There's no
product.
fishing out there,
There's no salmon in Illinois unless you're on the lake.
but it's not competing against nobody. That's what-
We've got it written in our book, though, the handbook about Illinois grown,
We,
produced.
we say we
Not
are.
mail ordered in.
We can define Illinois as, we define local as within the state of Illinois.
Okay,
No, I understand.
You see what I'm talking
And they're incorporated within the state of Illinois. Their business is in Galena, Illinois, but they source their products from somewhere else
Right. No,
and
I
bring
know.
it without adding, I mean, I guess you cut it and you prepare it, but you're not,
Well, that's,
yeah.
my part, but that's the definition of Illinois. It'd be a California tomato, if you make the salsa in Illinois, it's salsa. But we've got plenty of salsa in Illinois. We don't have a fish, and that's my point, I guess.
We almost had a guy that wanted to bring shrimp once.
That would be great, the Southern Illinois shrimp.
He had a
But
shrimp farm.
rabbit, and duck, ain't none out.
And we had two guys from U of I that started an aquaponics farm.
Yeah, they were talking about
And
coming next season.
They really, with fish, tilapia,
That'd be great.
through
I hate
aquaponics.
fish, but, well, I mean, so it just shows you how really
Okay.
complex this is.
Hi Shay, did you have something? No. Okay.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you what you thought, like what you guys usually do additions each year, and what you guys had on the agenda to change in the handbook so far. Anything?
No, I mean, we'd made significant changes last year. I mean, and opening it back up to go through, usually I highlight changes in yellow. So when you look it up online for a returning vendor, it catches your eye what is changed from the year before. And there was more yellow last year than any of the other years. And I don't want to make drastic changes all the time because then it's hard for everybody to keep up with all of the changes. But I thought last year we put in some good language that we kind of sourced from working with you. I mean, the group's only been together since 13. Yeah. So, yes. Okay.
I know we've talked about it before, but like having at least our food trucks or, prepared foods using local items.
Mhm.
And I think it would be easier to do with the food trucks if they would have a local feature, and maybe in that local feature they would be highlighting a local farm for that day. So like if Crack Truck put Stan's meat on their sandwich, and they could have a thing in the window saying, today we're featuring Stan's ham. Yeah, so Kelly does that, but that would be a way to, you'd be able to police that, I guess, or monitor that.
You'd be able to police that.
Right. We could, we would be able to, but
He would know if Crack bought the meat,
Right.
and if it was on there, or
Yeah.
if your greens were on a sandwich or something like
exactly.
that.
But
And
There's a lot of restaurants that,
well, that's a whole nother conversation. Well, we,
Yeah.
we did talk about that a little bit at the last meeting, and Dave came and sat next to me, and he chatted. But I guess, and I'm okay with adding that in there under the category of mobile or food trucks. But I guess the language that I would want to know is, do you want them to source ingredients from market at the square vendors or local ingredients? Because Dave, for example, he uses quite a few local ingredients, but they're not from Urbana Market vendors. They're from other farmers that don't come to market. So,
I don't know if you could tie their hands just to Urbana. I don't know, because they have menus, they have developed
Yes.
way ahead of time. With the growing season the way it is, you get bad weather, say, he's getting microgreens or something, whatever you guys produce, and you don't have it. His hands are tied, so I don't know, how to answer your question.
one thing that I've wanted to do for the market specifically is to put some kind of sheet together that says Triple S Farms has these products available for purchase by a food truck or a restaurant, or Blue Moon has these products available, something like that, where I could give them this list and be like, hey, these are some of the market vendors that have items available for you to buy.
Who are you giving it to?
A food truck, or sometimes I have chefs or restaurants that open up and say, do you have a listing that we could have? And I'm like, well, go on Manage My Market and type in an ingredient, but I don't know if those are things that you have for that scale of distribution. So if that's something that you would be interested in, we don't have that many food trucks. I could say, what are some things that you'd be interested in sourcing from market vendors? Hey, these are the market vendors that have them. Can I put you guys in touch? And then I'll let you guys take care of that relationship naturally.
You gotta get that all. Yes.
I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to try.
But, I think it's great, I think it's a great idea, but it's up to us to, you do it, I would say do it in reverse. Tell us what they're doing, we can approach it too. That's, I don't know, that's too complicated, but I think it's a good idea. But what I was thinking is on reverse, on your social media or whatever, and I don't know how much time you want to spend on it, but like Kelly consistently carries our stuff, that'd be out there. We social media and we tell folks we're small, our audience is small, but I'm thinking it may, I don't want to say force, but encourage food trucks, they want to be on that social media, say their handle and say Blue Moon, whatever, you know what I'm saying, and it's on your deal.
We're always searching for content.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like,
You gotta kind of police it on yourself. You see it, now it's gonna happen.
I'll
You gotta kind of give it a heads up, honey.
we're always searching for content. And
Don't
I'll
you think that
I'll
would-
say Kent gets a gold star because he regularly. We communicated
Yep.
quite often about what's available because we need stuff to talk about, and we can go around and make a list of all the things that we see there that we can add. Sometimes, if we
Well,
have
I
the
say
time to
food
go around and
trucks,
do it, but.
They develop their menu, so it's
Yeah.
pretty consistent.
So if you have these types of relationships happening, or if you know that your item's going to be featured on one of the trucks, just give us a heads up. It's really about communication. And yeah, we would love to say, get this special or get that
'Cause they're
special.
capturing a lot of dollar out of the market. I'm not saying in a bad way. They bring people, the shoppers,
Sure.
they're people like that.
Yeah.
So reread what you're gonna change, put it in.
Cannot add products after applying without prior approval of market director. Well, we'll make it a strong sentence. And then encourage sourcing local ingredients from market vendors in the food truck part of the handbook. And I think we'll follow up with the food trucks and chat with them. I need to have a conversation with all of them anyway about refuse and recycling and cleanup and electricity, so this would just be one more little bullet point.
Because I'm sure you have things you're consistently having.
There's still like a couple more minutes.
So have we decided that the advisory board is going to be more involved with new vendors and with regards to overlapping of products? You get an application in,
For all new vendors or just vendors from the grower category?
Didn't, what's her name, Diane says conflict of interest. That's why we focus on pretty.
oh,
I can tell you that I asked lots and lots of questions to the Bloomington market manager and to the Green City market manager of how they do their committees, their application committees, which are just advisory committees, but they have people that jury the applications that aren't part of their board.
But Leslie says that Green City is united. Just that they obey.
we spend an entire month going through applications. I mean, that was, it's hard to see, but that's 206 approved applications, 15 of them that people applied and then decided they wanted to withdraw. There's 23 of them on the wait list. There's 3 that were received that we never did anything with. Sorry. And then there's 3 that we flat out declined. So that's a whole lot of applications, and we accept applications mid-season. I mean, what's a good example of a late,
Like the Darling Apple Crate, for example.
like the Darling Apple Crate? We didn't have anybody that had caramel apples, and she's got beautiful 5-pound caramel apples that, and she makes them in Monticello, and she's a business startup over there, and so she applied towards the end of the season and said, could I come? And did pretty well. Now she's going to the indoor market, and now she's competing in a business boot camp in Monticello to try to get funding to start her own brick and mortar business. So, like, that's an example of somebody that you wouldn't have come in February. Or, you know, like We Products,
Yeah, We
for
Products was
example,
one.
they came later in the season. They were nice. I liked them. They didn't apply in February, and we still accepted
That's a
them.
unique product.
Yeah, well,
And that,
Kind of.
I don't know if I want that responsibility. I think we charge her with what we think, and that way if it goes astray, it's on her, not on and I mean that jokingly. But I trust you to
but I
do it.
think about it all the time. Like, it's not, I mean,
No, I wouldn't want your job, but,
yeah,
because your comment from the get-go said, we're the hardest to deal with. I know we're the hardest to deal with.
but I meant that in the most,
Well, it's
loving and
true.
endearing way. I
No,
say that
it's
about my
true,
husband.
Natalie.
I mean,
I'm
married.
ashamed of some of the folks out there when they go on
yeah.
about stuff, the littlest things. But reality is, I don't know if we can legally do that anyway. And I think if you're charged with what we think and you got it down on paper, it's up to you. I mean, there's got to be one sheet. We can advise you.
Yeah. And
I'd love to say only one meat vendor, but you know, I don't think.
I know 2 others that would be really sad. So the next advisory board meeting is in, is it February? January?
I thought you wanted to do it before the, well, that was a vendor meeting.
We have a vendor meeting at the end of January. That's all vendors at the Civic Center on a Thursday. It's like 3 to 5. I haven't sent an invite out for that yet, but well,
But our
maybe I
next
sent
board
something
meeting's
out.
the 19th.
The board meeting is the 19th, and then the next one after that's not until April.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. So,
But we need to meet for a handbook, right?
well, this was kind of it. I mean.
Okay.
I don't really have any changes to make to the handbook with the exception of these 2 additions. I mean, there wasn't anything, like any glaring errors or, I mean, we'll reread it and make sure the language is, that my English was correct and things like that, but there's no changes with the exception of the schedule of dates and, you know, those things that we update on an annual basis.
Well, can you say that we have 2 weeks to get any
if you have-
changes
if there's
via
something
email?
on there that you want to have updated, yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, I'm not really gonna give a deadline because I've given deadlines for other things and I haven't gotten any feedback. So, it's not something we can wait around for too long. I mean, we'll have them printed out and ready to go on January 26th. But I'm not, in reviewing, like I keep a packet of notes from throughout the season and I don't have anything in here that says I'm gonna make this change or something like that. I mean, most of the things are budget related, like move more money into supplies because our tents look like junk and we need to get them new awnings on them or something like that. So that's that's what I'm thinking about at the moment.
So you're not opposed to shrinking the market if that happens naturally?
I don't know if I'd say the word shrink the market, but I think
Condense?
Reorganize is a scary word because it's not like I'm gonna, like shake it all up and throw it all out there again. But I think,
Managed?
well, I try to do that anyway. But yeah,
I didn't mean it, I meant vendor.
better balance the market and the market
Because I
vendors.
think, like I mentioned earlier, the arts and crafts is perfect example. I know you got a bigger animal here, but you can't change everything all the time.
Right.
You know, if numbers continue to decline, I mean, I could prove me wrong, and I would love for me to be wrong. But if they continue to decline, you can keep that goalpost in mind.
Mhm.
The pie's getting smaller.
Yeah. I'd like to make better use of the space that we have, and make it more comfortable for the vendors that are there selling and the customers that are there shopping. I'd like to make it flow better. I mentioned that the last meeting, and we practiced on the last Saturday of the market real early before it got too busy, is opening up the corners so that you can go from parking lot to parking lot. That would be huge. And by doing that, that means we have to move a couple of things back into the market. But I don't think that's going to be a huge, like, as a customer, oh man, the market has shrunk. It's changed, but I'm still seeing some of the same things. It's just the layout is a little more conducive for walking, driving, biking, shopping, load in, load out.
But Shay, you remember the nice day in October, the football game, you and I both loaded, which I could take my product back home. Nobody showed up. It's like, what happened? No football game, weather, because we had some crappy days. And, we had a nice Friday, nice Saturday, and we're like, well, we'll go pumped. So, I guess the reason I said that is weather's not always
Yeah.
the
It's competition for time on Saturday. And October in Illinois is like agritourism central. I mean, there's so many things to do on Saturday, Sunday. But, I mean, we get a lot of great feedback from our customers that keeps that light going, where you know that people like to come and they like to be there. And they're, I wrote this down. I was at a UBA event about social media, and I wrote this down. This woman says, I make plans to go to the market with friends, but I don't make plans to go to Meijer with friends. And I like that. I mean, that's
great, but like I told you, the comment Diane made, she's not here to defend herself, but I mean in a positive way. She talked about the social aspect of the market.
Yeah.
But if they don't turn into dollars to spend, I don't really care. Because if I ain't making money for my business, I'm not talking about anybody else, but if the numbers aren't there, it don't matter how much fun everybody's having, because I need to make a living.
Right.
I'm different than probably a lot of people, but we track it every week, so.
Well, I don't want to be all like kumbaya, but I mean, we all need to work together to better sell ourselves, to tell why we're doing what we're doing, why you are out there every single Saturday, rain or shine, why people should come to you to get those things instead of going to ABCD location. And it needs to be a group effort. We need to all do that. And some of us do it really, really well, and others do it all right. And you guys are the shining stars. I mean, you're very active on social media, and maybe because I'm in your target audience, but I see it all the time. I see it when I go to other places,
So, with that
grocery
idea,
store.
then how would we expand that? Because, I can just say it's because everybody's here, there's a lot of people riding the wagon, not pulling. So how do we get those people riding the wagon to start helping pull? It's kind of what you just said, I'm not sure more bluntly.
Well, that's
Is
why
that
we've
something
been
you
working on our strategic plan update.
Well,
Think about some of those
I'm
initiatives
thinking-
that we can work
I'm thinking
towards.
that meeting you're thinking about having in January,
Yeah.
have something there, maybe you mentioned already, but some tools or something to get, like, somebody's not using social media. Because if he brings, say somebody brings 100 more people to the market, then that's 100 more people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I sell to them, that's my problem. But, you know, I view a market as I have 4 walls to sell in. And that's all I've got. You know, now we go out of that walls, but that's me. But I don't get to sell to people that come to that market.
And
So
we-
we have more people bringing people inside them 4 walls.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. We offer those services to our vendors. Part of being a vendor, one of the benefits is having an opportunity to sit down with us, and we'll help you with a marketing plan. We'll help you
I get that,
get
but
set
how
up.
do we
We'll,
do it better?
but it's not everybody wants to do it, and so I think I need your help to tell and talk to and convince your fellow vendors that it's a good idea to participate in these things, even
It
if they
makes
are your
sense.
competition. Like,
Right.
tell them, like, we're all in this together. Please, let's work together to help the staff, to advise them on what we're bringing, who we're working with, where to go to find more info to talk about us. I mean, we have like $20,000 that we spend per market season, I think, roundabout, on marketing and promotions. And I would love for every week to change those ads to say, this Saturday at the market, find this and this and this, instead of Market at the Square, 7 a.m. to noon, rain or shine, Ellen and Vine.
A model.
Like, but I need your help to curate that content.
A model Springfield had, Springfield had, which probably a good model today. They had a draw every week. And
So
then-
we have a vendor of the week, and
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do the vendor spotlights that I know. I think you're the only one in the room that did one this year, at least, because I was writing them up this year. But yeah, we do. Well, yeah,
yeah, we did. We send something out, and we're like, if you want to do this, this, and
They didn't
this,
ask me,
You're too busy.
yeah,
really.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, basically, it's just a really short, like, all I did was basically email, and you just say how long you've been at the market, how you got your start, what you sell. That will put links to like Facebook and Twitter or any other website or
They
social
had,
media you have.
They had it, and maybe it's not available here in town, but they had, you got a radio, because I did it every year over there.
And we've
you
done
know,
it too
I
with-
guarantee you, my sales were up that week.
We do it too
Because
with
I
Mix
don't-
94.5. They've even interviewed you before.
Well, she wanted money out of that.
That was a separate thing.
Yeah, but that didn't go.
So,
Yeah.
do we do a radio thing every week?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we do.
Every week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we have a vendor there every week?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Help me find a vendor that wants to come every
Oh,
week.
yeah.
That's so hard.
No, you
Yeah.
got a different one.
I'll do every other week. I'll bring flowers for them.
Sterling, when you send out for a week, the spotlight, the vendor
Yeah.
spotlight, do you do that in the winter or in the summer?
We do that like basically.
Is
So
it
what
rolling?
I'll do is like,
Actually, we sent it out in April.
yeah,
March or April. We said, this is what we're doing. Let us know if you're interested, and we'll follow up with you. And we went through them as the order that we received the yeses. We want to do that. We had a whole spreadsheet. Like, I want to do a giveaway on TV. I want to do a radio ad. I want to be in the vendor spotlight. And I sent it to you, and you
yeah.
went each week and you talked to people and tried to get interviews.
Is it easier to, probably not for you, but like for the vendors, if I wanted to write up a vendor spotlight, for me to do it in July is impossible. For me to do it in December is totally doable. So I didn't know if there was a way for you to send an email saying, hey, we're planning to do our vendor spotlights. If you're interested, email me, and then you could plan out the 28
Put it on the
vendors.
computer,
Yeah.
say-
We,
Yeah, I mean,
we
yeah.
tried to do it, but we didn't
Okay.
do it until after we approved the applications.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case we got anybody
Crazy.
that was,
It's shitty you can have
New or
it filled out,
returning.
Ready to go,
yeah.
you know.
He could send them to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
It's
if
just-
you
it's
want
on-
to, if you would want to
it's
get it
just
like done
document.
now and say like, hey, could you do this at like sometime in this month, and then just have it for me? Yeah, I could just sit on it basically until, say, you wanted it done like May, the second week of May, and then I could say, you know, then I'll come the Saturday before. I'll take pictures of your product, you know, and that way we can link all that with our social medias and our website, and yeah, we can just do it that way if that's easier for you. Because I know it does get really busy throughout the year. I mean, yeah.
I know we gotta go, but is there a way to incentivize people getting involved in the social media thing? Like I say, bring more people. I'm just throwing an idea out there.
Yeah, there's ways to do it.
It don't have to be about money. I don't mean that.
Yeah, there's ways to incentivize.
Could we not just, when we send out the application or have it on the application, all your social media listed?
Mhm.
And then you would have a copy, or you would have those.
Yeah, because we already do that for a website, right? Where they have to list their website on
Because there's links to Facebook and Twitter and
Right.
Instagram from your profile.
But then,
and
on their
market.
application, they can list, well, I'm not on Instagram, but maybe I should,
Yeah.
if they see it.
There's a space where you type it in.
Right.
That way, when someone searches for you as a vendor or your product, it comes up on the bar on the left, and there's these little icons you can click on. But these are all things during this pre-season vendor meeting where we will emphasize over and over, and just hopeful that people will come. Maybe I'll get some food, free food. It helps.
No.
All right, that was the longest pause we've had yet. So, if you have, what?
It's 1:15.
I gotta go home. Okay, so if you have things that, read that vendor handbook, or even the community group handbook. If there's things that you would like to discuss, you know where we're at or how to get a hold of us. And, that goes for anybody. In the email that I sent out to all of the vendors from the season last week, along with the survey, I mentioned that we have advisory board meetings. I put the link on there to where to find the calendar and who's on it. I said if there's questions, suggestions, recommendations, to let us know. It's always easier for us to know about it before we print the thing, but yeah. So, but thank you all for 2016 and a great-ish season.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks for your work.
And we're already gearing up for next year, and
Okay.
appreciate your
The
feedback.
dog's gonna come back.
What's that? No,
You heard me.
no dogs.
So, is there a number when we see dogs? I can just dog on Illinois row.
But you gotta watch that because
I
there's so
watch.
many, what do they call them, assistants?
Well, they've got them marked. Those dogs are supposed to be marked.
Oh, really?
Service
we'll
dogs.
actually have a lot of people come up to our booth and give us paperwork like, hey, this is a service dog, by the way. And we're like, okay, thank you for letting us know. Yeah, if it's like a psychological or an anxiety, a lot of the times they won't wear the vest. It'll just be an unmarked dog that they'll have to show their paperwork or whatever. But
There's a tag or a card or something that lets us know. So, the market, we don't have a cell phone besides our own personal ones. It's out there. I'm pretty sure it's out there for some people. I don't put it on the application. I'm not gonna do that, but yeah, just letting us know somehow, or waving one of us down, or same goes for other exotic animals as well that might make their way into the market. I know the sign says no dogs, but
One quick question.
okay.
So, what happens, say you have several vendors with products, like say vegetables. At what point, or do you let us know, or what point do you say, oh, we gotta get some more in? Say the sign up comes for whatever reason. Is that making sense?
We'll know in February. So we
I
typically.
know, but I'm saying, at what point? You give us a heads up, or?
Like if we have to go out and start recruiting vendors, or if I have to say we have huge gaps in these products, can you help?
Say you've got, say just a number, 5 vegetable vendors quit. You've got 5 that want in, the vegetables. Do you let them in, or you just don't fill them?
I guess
Well,
would
that's,
like to see what, I mean, you'd have to
But-
review the application because there's some folks that have to jump through a lot of hoops in order to sell and others that don't. I
but
mean,
do we get an email, I guess, is what I'm asking. Hey, I got this situation here. Or
like
do
if
we-
there's a big change up in
Right.
the vendor makeup and product,
Right.
sure, if you want me to send an email, I'll send an email. I mean, I don't know what to expect until they start getting
No, I know.
applications.
I'm just a hypothetical question.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, if you'd like me to send more regular communications than what we get for just leading up to the advisory board meetings. I mean, every once in a while I've sent things like this funding or this thing over here or that, but I mean, if you want me to do something twice a month or monthly, like a little rundown of what's happening, I can, outside of what I send weekly during the season. I mean, obviously it'd be a little bit different information. I'm not,
But you can use us in reverse, you can also use us for comment. Advisory board said we,
I don't remember that.
I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Yeah, I know I did that a few times for arts and crafts. We had a bunch of jewelers, and I said, I said that our advisory board is wanting us to work on not oversaturating the market. So unfortunately, we're going to have to waitlist you, and I mean, nobody ever had a problem
Yeah.
with it.
Send them my way, I'll talk to them.
Okay.
No, I mean that.
Okay. No, I appreciate your offering that. Okay.
And I'll send them what we can.
Do we officially adjourn this meeting? Motion to
Yeah,
adjourn?
yeah.
I move. Okay. I'll second.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Everybody wants to leave.